Hey everybody, movie review next door here, and I'm back with another review. And this time I saw Slotherhouse. This is a horror comedy film directed by Matthew Goodhue. Excuse me. Made in 2023, and it stars Lisa Ambalavanar, Sidney Craven, Bianca Beckles-Rose, and Olivia Ruyri. In this film, wanting to have a killer year, sorority sister Emily Young realizes she might just be the best option for her sorority. While beginning her campaign, she finds an adorable sloth that steals her heart and soon realizes she just might steal the hearts and votes of her sorority sisters. But when bodies begin slowly piling up in the Sigma Lambda Theta house, Emily and her sorority sisters realize that the deaths are being caused by their new house mascot, the cuddly sloth Alpha. Will Emily and her sisters escape the house with their lives, or is this death sloth with three razor sharp claws too quick for them? So, what did I think of Slotherhouse? Well, I kind of just went into this because well, one, when I first saw the post for this, it felt like one of those movies that was kind of a joke, kind of like the Snow White movie that Daily Wire is doing. P.S. Hope it's good. Um, And two, I thought this was just a dumb enough concept that it could work. And overall, I enjoyed it. I found it to be a pretty fun creature feature. It went along at a good pace. It was had some interesting deaths in it. And overall, it was pretty decently funny in parts. But let me get to the cast first. Having a bit of one of those days. Um, Lisa Ambalavanar plays Emily. She's a girl going to the sorority. She wants to run, and again, she gets Alpha, the sloth. Um, I will say there isn't a ton to her character. I will say if there's anything about this movie, that the characters are a bit one-dimensional. And she's kind of two-dimensional, I guess, because she goes between oh, I know that I'm taking this wild animal out of its habitat, and then she goes directly into, but it'll make me popular. It's that kind of thing. It's been done before. But for the most part, I liked her as a main character. I liked the actress. I've never seen her before. I'm guessing most of these actors, this is like one of the only couple things they've been in. But yeah, she did a decent job. Sydney Craven plays Brianna. She's kind of the bitch of the sorority. She is the current leader. Um, she's good at playing this character, but I get the feeling that she wouldn't be great in a bunch of different types of roles, if that makes any sense. She kind of looks this part, but she did a good job. Um, and Bianca Beckles-Rose plays Zenny. I'm a bit half and half on her character because she has this kind of voice that doesn't really. She's got a really butch voice, and I can't tell if it's a voice that she's putting on or if it's her actual voice. Because if it is her actual voice, just like, damn, you got a deep ass voice. Um, I don't know, maybe she's a lesbian, I don't know. Uh, she was all right, I guess. I again, like I like her more towards the end where she has a bit more to do, but she kind of just seems to be that friend who's just like the butch one. Again, this movie isn't very deep on any of the characters, even the main characters. But yeah, Slotherhouse. Again, I thought this was a joke. Looked it up, saw that there were actual reviews for it, and I was like, you know what? I've needed to watch a dumb movie for a while. And apparently this was released on Hulu. Found another way to watch it. Um, because I mean Hulu doesn't have a ton of stuff that really interests me, to be honest. But yeah, what to talk about with this movie? It's again, it's a horror comedy. A lot of the comedy of the film has to do with the well, one, the sorority leader, Brianna, and two, the fact that a sloth is killing people. And if you find that interesting, if you find the idea of a slow animal killing people interesting, then I think you'd enjoy this. If you're going into this looking for Citizen Kane or an action movie, if you go into this not wanting what it is uh telling you on the even just the poster what it is, then you're gonna hate this fucking movie. Uh I shouldn't have to say that, but there's a lot of people that don't understand that some movies just aren't made for them. And oh wow, you reviewed a movie that you uh knew didn't look up your alley and then you hated it. What a fucking surprise. But this movie, I was just like, you know what? This could work. And I do think it worked for the most part. I think, well, for one, it's a good looking movie. Apparently the budget for this was about $20 million. I don't know if that's a super accurate number. Um, but it 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 would make sense for the the actors because I really don't recognize any of the actors in this other than Stefan Kapishik, who was in Deadpool 1 and 2. He was in the recent Last Voyage of the Demeter. Uh, but yeah, other than him, I didn't really recognize anybody else. I'm guessing this is one of those like indie movies that got a bit more of a budget or maybe got crowdfunded some of the way. But one of the things I did see when I was looking up stuff about this movie was apparently PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, which is I'll just say right off the bat, a a group of people that I just absolutely despise. I mean, only thing you had to tell me was the most kill shelters in the US. That's all you had to tell me. But they awarded this film an award called Slotherhouse Rules um, because they used a puppet for the scenes for pretty much all of the sloth scenes instead of bringing a real sloth on set, which I'm like, nobody would allow you to bring a real sloth on set. That's kind of a weird award to give, and fuck you, PETA. But that brings into one of another thing I'd like to praise in this film is the sloth. The sloth is very cute. It is um I think it's an interesting idea for a killer in a slasher movie because you expect it to be slow, and I will say they do cheat it a lot. There's literally a scene where the sloth like hops from one place to another in between like lightning flashes, and I'm like, I think it would have been a lot funnier having the girls be so stupid that they can't like run away while the sloth is slowly clawing towards them. I think that would have been a lot funnier. They kind of do that at one point where he takes forever to the sloth is a she, takes forever to claw somebody, and I was like, "Oh, you should have done more of that." But whatever. But yeah, the puppet that they use looks really good. It articulates well. It's always nice to see practical effects in movies like this. And for the most part, I don't think there's any CGI. There may be the lightning outside or something, but you could always fake that with like flashing lights or something. But um, yeah, I can always give credit to that because it looks good. It looks like it's actually interacting with the actors. And again, the it just makes the movie that little bit more scary. Is this movie scary though? Not really. It had a couple moments that I thought were decently suspenseful. But for the most part, this film is hinging on the absurdity of, oh, a sloth is slowly creeping after you. Try to run away. And you should be able to because it's a fucking sloth. But then again, the sloth is super fast at times, super slow at times. It is a bit. It could have been written a bit better around that because again, sloths aren't like that. That they're not super fast. 100%. That's sloth. But because there is a kill earlier on in the movie where the sloth grabs onto a dude and like throws him around like while he's attached to him and she's attached to him and I'm like, what, is the sloth superhuman now? And again, there is some stupid shit in this movie, there really is. um Another thing one thing I will say is lacking in this movie is gore. Now I know this movie is PG-13. I wish it wasn't. I really wish it was R so that it could have had some creative sloth-based kills because most of the kills are either off screen or shot in a way where there's not too much blood so that they can still get that PG-13 rating. And I will say some of the interesting ways that they shoot around it are cool, but for the most part I was kind of let down by the gore because the most real gore that you get in this movie, someone gets kind of a Glasgow smile, but you don't really see much of it, so it's not enough to be R. You There's like a bit where there's a kill where there's like blood splattering everywhere, but it's mostly off screen, so there's not really gore, it's just blood. But I'd say this film kind of shoots it like Happy Death Day, in that there was a shot in Happy Death Day where you saw like a knife go out of something and there's blood on it, but you don't really see a stab wound or anything. It's one of those where they shoot around it. Um, but yeah, if they ever do decide to release a version of it with more gore or something, that would be cool. But but yeah, I will say that was a little bit of a letdown. I know that some people might find that unfair. The movie's PG-13, don't judge it on something that's not. But with a concept like this, a killer sloth, you'd expect there to be gore. And the most you see is blood for the most part, and it's not like makeup effects and anything. It's not CGI blood. I'll give them that. They used corn syrup blood or stage blood. I can always give credit for that too, because so many movies have forgotten that practical effects exist. Um, but yeah, other things. Let's see. Again, the acting isn't that bad. For the most part, it's pretty tolerable. They don't make the main character too annoying. They don't do a Lucy Hale in Truth or Dare and make her like, "Oh, I love the environment so much." Um, this another issue with this movie. It might be doing this as a joke. It might not be. It is kind of hard to tell. Near the end of the movie and near the beginning of the movie, they have characters just outright saying like, "Oh, save the rainforest," that whole thing. And one character just lectures the main character on, you took this animal out of its habitat. What a horrible person you are. And I understand. I agree with that sentiment that wild animals should not be touched. I agree that petting zoos, I think petting zoo, bleh, I think petting zoos should be illegal. Zoos, it depends on how the zoo is run. If the zoo is for animals that are not able to be in the wild because they have an injury and they need to be kept in a closed environment, that's fine. If the people running it are just having them there for you to gawk at and everything, I don't like that at all, especially not petting zoos because wild animals that can still be in the wild do not need to be in enclosed environments. That is animal abuse in my opinion. Otherwise, I do agree with these standpoints that she makes, that you took it out of its habitat just for likes and views and all that and to win this like sorority thing. But the way that they do it is very in your face, and I could have done with a little bit of subtlety there. And I mean, this character doesn't really do much in the movie, so she could have just been taken out entirely. And near the end of the movie, there's a bit where a girl like takes a selfie with the a sloth in Panama, and I mean that didn't really need to be there. And what the guy is saying is kind of overdone as well. But again, I did enjoy my time with this. I don't see what is so bad about it. It does have kind of middling reviews. On Letterboxd, it has a 2.4. I'm guessing a lot of people just really, um, I don't know. I guess some people can't get into movies like this. If that's the case, that's fine, whatever. Um, yeah. Overall, I do recommend this. I okay, but here's my caveats. If you like horror comedies, if you like horror comedies, creature features, movies with stupid premises that you'd expect to be bad but are actually pretty decent, and if you can get behind a lot of stupid shit that the sloth does, like driving a car and using a computer, if you're okay with that kind of dumb humor, then I think you'll get a lot out of this. Or at least something. I think you'll at least find it a time waster. If every movie that you watch needs to be intellectual and thought provoking, don't watch this. Don't watch it pretending that that's what the filmmakers were trying to do. But yeah, I do recommend this. But yeah, that was my review of Slotherhouse. If you've seen the film, let me know in the description or I keep doing that in the comments how you felt about it. Give me some recommendations and movie review next door.